Welcome to Leadership Legacies from Gettysburg, a new student video series hosted by the Garthwait Leadership Center at Gettysburg College. This collection of interviews with current Gettysburg students highlights stories about their own leadership development, the ways in which they lead, and the legacy they hope to leave on this campus. For our first episode, the GLC's very own senior leadership mentor, Brent Slaughterhoff, interviews Kodie McNamara, a senior captain on the Gettysburg College football team.
So this year as a senior, the captain, a four-year starter, what type of leadership role have you taken on that's different than maybe in other years?
Well, as a senior, you kind of look through the ranks of the other football players around you, and you see the young guys coming in between the first years and the sophomores, and they might not realize how important they are to the team sometimes, but they're really, really vital.
So Kodie, who's your role model, and what about their leadership would you say is admirable?
One guy I've always looked up to is Pat Tillman. So he was an NFL player. He played, I think it was like 2001 and 2002. And for that, I definitely admire him because the guy worked his tail off. He was definitely undersized for his position. He played safety. He was a defensive guy. And he was just a really, really hard worker. And for those reasons, you have to admire him. But the one thing that kind of set him apart from everyone else was he acted in accordance to who he is as a person. And at his core, he's probably, one of the most moral, like one of the best people that you can imagine.
So how would you describe the way in which you lead?
For me personally, I'd say it's more lead by example. I definitely do communicate, although I'm definitely not as vocal as some of the other leaders compared to Sam McDermott or Brian Calatoza or Anthony Giuliano, the other captains. But it's more so, watch what I do and follow that. So I'm going to work my tail off, obviously, at practice or in the gym on Saturday, and that kind of stuff's infectious, and people see you work hard, and they themselves are like, all right, well, why am I not working that hard? I should be working that hard. And,
What would you say has been your most significant challenge as a leader on the football team this year?
Okay, this year. So I know in years past, for instance, last year it was pretty tough having a losing. Well, actually, we were 5-5 last year, so coming out of games and not being victorious is tough, and it takes a toll on your team. And when you lose 2 or 3 in a row, it's really hard to keep that motivation there and want to come to practice every day and want to keep getting after it. It's really hard, but that's one challenge that I fought with last year, that it's like, all right, well, we're down to our last 2 games of the year, and I know we're 3-5 right now, but we need to still work our tail off and make sure we're going to finish this year strong. And that's something I couldn't be more proud of us as a team those last 2 weeks last year between Dickinson and F&M, which were like 2 of our biggest rivalry games, and we just went out there and worked our butt off, and it was great, and we found success.
We got 2 wins.
Yeah, we got 2 wins. They're our biggest rivals.
So why do you think leadership development is important?
So I think through a lot of stuff that I've been through between football and the classroom and stuff like that, I've learned a lot about myself through how I've been able to lead as a person and kind of felt comfortable with myself. And that's kind of one of the biggest things you need to be as a leader. You need to be comfortable with yourself and the message you're kind of preaching. So it's definitely important for everyone to have that leadership aspect within them. There's no doubt.
What leadership legacy do you hope to leave once you graduate?
So in terms of football, I'd say I'd hope for every player beyond our class that they come into football with the right attitude, as in love this sport that you get a chance to play. There's so many days you get to play. There's so many years that you're even capable of playing. You need to have that mindset every day coming into practice, going into game day. Your days are limited, there's no doubt, and you need to love everything you do. You need to, you can't, put in half your time into football and, say, I'll just get away with it, I'll slide through it, and I'll be fine, right? But that's really not the attitude you can have. You need to love what you do.
Kodie, thanks for coming out today and talking with us. Really appreciate it, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.